Diana Taurasi, the GOAT villain. Diana Taurasi isn't just one of the greatest players in WNBA history. She's also one of its most hated. Why? Because she loves being the villain. Trash talk, elbows, smirks at refs. DT has made a career out of pissing people off. Fans outside of Phoenix call her dirty. They say she gets away with technical fouls, hard hacks, and borderline cheap shots because the league protects her, and she feeds off it. Every single groan, every boo, she turns into fuel. Ask Minnesota fans. Taurasi turned entire playoff series into grudge matches. Ask New York. She's the reason Liberty Dreams kept dying in the 2010s. Her swagger, her mouth, and her ability to dagger teams in their own arena made her the WNBA's most polarizing superstar. Phoenix fans worship her. Everyone else despises her, and that's exactly how she likes it. By the way, are you a real WNBA fan? Subscribe if so, as we're aiming to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. Thank you. Let's dive into the next hated players. Liz Cambage. The drama queen of the W, Liz Cambage is a walking controversy. Standing 6'8" with unstoppable post moves, she should have been one of the league's most beloved stars. Instead, she became its drama queen. From publicly trashing her teams, to blasting coaches, to quitting mid-season, Cambage built a reputation as unreliable and toxic. Fans hated her arrogance, bragging about dominance while leaving franchises scrambling. Her infamous fallout with Team Australia before the Olympics only fueled the fire. Then came her messy exits from both Dallas and Los Angeles, leaving scorched earth behind. Cambage didn't just rub fans wrong, she rubbed entire locker rooms wrong. Supporters called her misunderstood, haters called her selfish, and the truth is, Liz never cared either way. Angel McCoughtry, the heel Atlanta needed. Angel McCoughtry was pure intensity. Drafted number 1 in 2009, she put Atlanta on her back, dragging them to 3 finals. But she wasn't graceful about it. McCoughtry was confrontational, cocky, and relentless. She barked at refs, jawed at opponents, and never backed down. Fans outside Atlanta hated her for it. She was too emotional, too aggressive, too much. But in reality, Angel was just unapologetically herself. She played like a fighter in a league that often marketed players as polished and smiling. And when she torched your team for 30 while glaring down your bench, that hate was real. Atlanta loved her. The rest of the league called her a problem, and she loved every second of it. Cappie Pondexter, fire that burned both ways. Cappie Pondexter was electric. A scorer with swagger, she could cook anyone off the dribble and nail dagger shots. But what made her loved in Chicago and Phoenix made her hated everywhere else. Pondexter was fiery, confident, and unapologetic, traits that clashed hard with fans who wanted likable stars. She jawed at refs, clapped back at hecklers, and carried herself like she was untouchable. Then came the off-court drama, social media rants, team clashes, and controversies that followed her around. Fans didn't just dislike her game, they questioned her character. That's why Pondexter became one of the most polarizing figures of her era. Brilliant talent but combustible energy that made her impossible to fully embrace. Candace Parker, the overhyped prodigy label. Candace Parker came into the league as the one, the NCAA star, the dunker, the new face of women's basketball. In her rookie season, she lived up to it. Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same year. But that instant dominance painted a target on her back. Fans outside Los Angeles hated her hype. She was called overrated, soft, and privileged. Someone the league wanted to succeed. Every loss was amplified, every playoff stumble magnified. When the Sparks underachieved in the early 2010s, Parker became the scapegoat. She was too Hollywood, too media-driven. Even her success later on, especially after leaving LA and winning with Chicago, didn't erase the years of hate. Parker wasn't just respected, she was resented. To this day, she's one of the most polarizing WNBA legends. Skylar Diggins-Smith, more brand than baller? Skylar Diggins-Smith was a marketing dream. Notre Dame star, drafted to Tulsa, instantly one of the league's most recognizable faces. But from the start, fans accused her of being more brand than basketball. Her endorsements, her appearances, her media presence, all of it overshadowed her play in some fans' eyes. Never mind that she became a multi-time All-Star, averaging 20 points in her prime. The hate stuck. Then came the drama, clashes with coaches, ugly exits from Dallas and Phoenix. and cryptic social media posts that fueled controversy. Supporters point out she was often right, mistreated by franchises, disrespected by teammates. Haters argue she brought it on herself. Either way, Diggins Smith stayed in headlines for all the wrong reasons. Breanna Stewart, system player or super team villain? Breanna Stewart has one of the most decorated resumes in basketball. College legend, multiple WNBA MVPs, championships in Seattle, and yet, fans still hate her. Why? Because they call her a system player, someone who benefited from being surrounded by Sue Bird, Jewel Lloyd, and a stacked Storm squad. Then came the move to New York, joining the super team Liberty. For haters, that was proof. She couldn't just win, she had to stack the deck. Stewart's dominance makes her impossible to ignore, but her calm, almost robotic demeanor doesn't help her case. She's incredible, but fans say she lacks personality, and super team resentment made her a villain. Stewart doesn't care. She wins, fans boo, and the hate keeps growing. Katie Smith, the enforcer guard. Katie Smith was one of the toughest guards to ever play, a walking bucket who also wasn't afraid to scrap. She bullied her way through defenses, threw her body around, and left opponents bruised. That physicality made her a legend in Detroit, where her shock teams embraced the bad girls image. But outside Detroit, fans despised her. They saw Smith as a dirty player, a foul machine who thrived off rough play and intimidation. She wasn't graceful, she was ruthless. And in an era where the league wanted marketable stars, Smith leaned into being the heel. Fans booed her, opponents hated her, and she didn't care. Katie Smith wasn't in the WNBA to be liked. She was there to win rings. Deanna Nolan, the silent assassin fans couldn't stand. Deanna Tweety Nolan didn't talk much, but her game did the trash talking for her. A slashing guard with ridiculous athleticism, Nolan was the motor of the Detroit Shock dynasty. Fans outside Detroit hated her not because she mouthed off, but because she kept breaking their hearts. Game after game, she carved defenses apart, hitting clutch shots and shutting down opposing guards. She had a quiet swagger, the kind that drove rivals insane. Nolan wasn't smiling for cameras, wasn't trying to be marketable. She was just killing your team night after night. That made her easy to hate. Add in Detroit's bad girls reputation, and Nolan was branded guilty by association. To Shock fans, she was untouchable. To everyone else, she was a nightmare you couldn't stop. Simone Augustus, smooth, cocky, and hated. Simone Augustus was as smooth as they come. Her jumper was silk, her footwork polished, her scoring effortless. But what made her adored in Minnesota made her hated everywhere else: her cocky confidence. Augustus played with a visible swagger, smirking at defenders after buckets, jawing at opponents, and letting everyone know she was that player. During the Lynx dynasty, she became the face of dominance, and nothing breeds hate like constant winning. Opposing fans were sick of watching her torch their teams in the playoffs. Add in her on-court flair and unapologetic confidence, and Simone was easy to paint as the villain. To Lynx fans, she was royalty. To everyone else, she was the cocky scorer they couldn't stand. Brittney Griner, the polarizing giant. Brittney Griner has always split fans. At 6'9", she was a physical mismatch from the second she entered the WNBA. Some celebrated her dominance. Others called her game boring, all dunks and size without skill. The hate only grew as her career went on. She was criticized for being too physical, too sloppy, too reliant on height. Then came the off-court controversies, her Russia detainment, her outspoken political stances, and the league's heavy focus on her as a centerpiece. To supporters, she's a trailblazer. To haters, she's overexposed, overprotected, and overrated. Griner didn't ask to be polarizing, but her size, style, and circumstances made her the league's lightning rod. Shameik Holdsclaw, the burden of hype. Shameik Holdsclaw was once called the female Michael Jordan. That label was both a blessing and a curse. Drafted #1 overall in 1999, she was supposed to carry the Mystics and the WNBA into superstardom. But the hype created resentment. Fans who expected perfection criticized her every miss, every off night. She was called selfish, lazy, inconsistent. Holdsclaw was battling personal struggles behind the scenes, but the public didn't care. They wanted the superstar she was advertised as, and when she fell short, the backlash was brutal. Fans hated her not because she was bad, but because she wasn't allowed to be human. The burden of MJ-level expectations turned her into one of the most polarizing players in WNBA history. Tamika Catchings, the relentless villain. Tamika Catchings is a Hall of Famer, a champion, an MVP, and one of the most respected names in the sport. But don't get it twisted. During her playing days, plenty of fans hated her. Why? Because she played too hard. Catchings was relentless on both ends. She hounded guards like a shadow, bodied forwards in the paint, and never took possessions off. Fans outside Indiana called her dirty, accused her of hacking, grabbing, and bullying opponents. But that was her game, controlled chaos. Every 50-50 ball, Catchings dove, every loose rebound, she fought like it was life or death. And when your team went up against her, it felt like facing a buzzsaw that never turned off. Fever fans adored her grit. Rival fans despised her because she never gave them a break. Tamika didn't want to be liked. She wanted to win. And that's exactly why she became one of the most hated defensive nightmares in league history. Swin Cash. Confidence that clashed. Swin Cash was never afraid to speak her mind. A 3-time champion and 4-time All-Star, she had the resume to back it up. But her outspoken nature made her polarizing. Cash didn't just play, she talked. She clapped back at critics, challenged teammates, and never shied away from calling out media narratives. Fans who wanted humble, smiling stars saw her as arrogant. Opponents saw her as a trash talker who backed it up with hard-nosed play. And during Detroit's dynasty years, her personality perfectly matched the Shock's bad girl's reputation. People loved to hate her. Even after retiring, her strong voice as an analyst and executive rubbed some the wrong way. Swin Cash was never built to be universally loved. She was built to be respected, even if that respect came with hate. Sophia Young-Malcolm, the silent villain of San Antonio. Sophia Young-Malcolm never talked much, but she didn't have to. Her game annoyed the hell out of opposing fans. A bruising forward for the San Antonio Stars, she was relentless in the paint, rebounding, grinding, and scoring through contact. She wasn't flashy, but she was effective, and sometimes that's what makes fans hate you most. Young's physicality had opponents calling her dirty, and her quiet demeanor only added to the villain mystique. She'd elbow her way to a bucket, grab a rebound over 3 players, and jog back down the floor without a smirk. San Antonio loved her. She was their rock. But around the league, her grinding style made her the player people groaned about when she showed up on the schedule. Hated not for words, but for how exhausting she was to play against. Sheryl Swoopes, ego and excellence. Sheryl Swoopes was one of the league's first superstars, a 3-time MVP, 4-time champion with Houston, and the face of the Comets dynasty. But with greatness came ego. Swoopes clashed with teammates, demanded the spotlight, and carried herself like the queen of the WNBA, because she was. Fans who loved her dominance worshipped her confidence. Fans who didn't. They called her arrogant, self-centered, and impossible to root for. Even in later years when her production dipped, Swoopes still demanded to be treated like royalty. That rubbed people the wrong way. Add in her blunt personality, she didn't sugarcoat anything, on or off the court, and she was easy to hate. But here's the thing, Swoopes thrived off that hate. It didn't matter if you booed her. She had the rings, the records, and the resume to back it up. Kelsey Plum, cocky or just confident. Kelsey Plum has quickly become one of the league's most polarizing players. Drafted number 1 overall in 2017, she started slow, and fans labeled her a bust. But once she hit her stride with the Las Vegas Aces, her game and her personality came roaring out. Plum plays with swagger, chest bumps, trash talk, smirks after buckets. She celebrates every dagger like she's won a championship. To Aces fans, it's energy. To everyone else, it's arrogance. Social media only amplifies it. Whether it's her fiery interviews or her unapologetic personality, Plum stays in headlines. She doesn't back down, doesn't apologize, and doesn't try to be likable to everyone. And that's exactly why she's hated. She's too loud, too brash, too in your face for some fans, which makes her one of the WNBA's modern villains. Nikki Teasley, flash-over fundamentals. Nikki Teasley made her name with flash, no-look passes, behind-the-back feeds, crossovers that left defenders stumbling. She played the game with flair, but flair comes with hate. Fans accused her of being style over substance. caring more about highlight plays than wins. Teasley had the talent. She even hit a finals-winning shot as a rookie, but her personality rubbed people wrong. She celebrated loudly, trash-talked freely, and leaned into her star aura. In a league where many players were told to be role models, Teasley was unapologetically herself. That made her loved by some and hated by many. Fans wanted fundamentals. Teasley gave them flash. And when her career dipped, critics felt vindicated, painting her as wasted talent who cared more about flash than lasting greatness. Becky Hammon, villain before she was a hero. Today, Becky Hammon is celebrated as a trailblazing coach, but as a player, she was hated by plenty of fans. Hammon was a dagger dropper, a fiery guard who lived for breaking hearts. She played with swagger, nailed clutch threes, and wasn't afraid to talk about it after. Her underdog rise, undrafted, overlooked, made her beloved in New York and San Antonio. But when she torched your team, she was insufferable. Fans outside her markets called her cocky, accused her of hunting for fouls, and hated how often she killed games with one shot. Hammon leaned into the role, thriving on being underestimated and then proving you wrong. It's ironic. The same fire that made her hated as a player is what made her respected as a coach. Candace Wiggins, the exit that burned bridges. Candace Wiggins' career was solid. A spark plug scorer, 6th Woman of the Year, and a key part of Minnesota's early dynasty. But it's not her play that cemented her as one of the most hated players in WNBA history. It's how she left. In 2016, she retired at just 29 years old. Soon after, she went public with claims that the WNBA was toxic, saying she was bullied for being straight in a predominantly gay league. Her comments set the basketball world on fire. Teammates pushed back, fans attacked her statements, and her reputation shifted overnight. Wiggins went from respected role player to league pariah. Whether you believe her or not, one fact is undeniable. Her words burned every bridge she had left in the WNBA. Fans didn't just dislike her, they despised her for dragging the league's culture into the mud on her way out.